Today's video is about Cash Jordan, a YouTuber. I'm going to be reviewing what was and what is and what could have been on his channel. Cash Jordan recently, if you look up his channel, seems to show videos that are basically fear porn designed to be consumed by conservatives that are not willing to admit that they've not only made a mistake concerning recent events, but that their entire upbringing may have been to perpetuate something that honestly isn't in their best interest or anybody else's. And they might be saying, are we the bad guys, and not wanting to acknowledge it. So we're looking at the oldest videos on at cashjordan/videos on youtube.com. And we have the smallest apartment or the cheapest apartment or luxury apartments that are unbelievably cheap for what they offer. And this is what this guy did for many, many years. He started his channel, we'll just look at that really quickly, in 2019, just before 2020. Okay, this is when COVID started. And he has 1.6 million subs and about 1,000 videos. My YouTube channels have about 1,000 videos, and I have maybe 1,000 subs. And one sub for each person. That's a great return on investment, in my opinion. No, it is. But anyway, here we are. Let's look at what we got here. So we have all of these thumbnails that are almost identical. They show the presenter's face, Cash Jordan. They almost always explain exactly what it's about. They tell you the dollar amount they're talking about. And they talk about trends. He talks about trends in this case. New York City rental collapse in 2020. What you must know. And it looks like stock footage mixed together with his commentary, which shows his face. This channel is actually notorious or infamous, depending on your opinion, for a specific video that I watched at one time, and it was actually very useful to me. Now we're going to go down, and now we see a change. Don't come to New York City, and it doesn't show anything on the screen, so we have to click it to find out what's going on. I call that a tease thumbnail. New York City has changed forever, and that's literally the entire title. Again, another tease title. The rest of them are quite clear. $2,000 rent, Chinatown, 3-bedroom. That's non-ambiguous. New York City's collapsed because it's $2,000 for a 3-bedroom apartment. Is it because it's too low or too high? If you're not aware of it, in New York, as of last year and maybe even this year, you can get an apartment. It's just going to be really tiny that the city, county, and state there allow, and it will be really small, like under 100 square feet in some cases. It's basically a walk-in closet you can live in, and that's available, and that's called low-income housing. That's the way it is. And let's go down here. The truth about New York City, again, a clickbaity thumbnail. And we get more absolutely unambiguous, clear data. And I like to, I've seen this stuff up here. I want to point out that when I saw the channel before, when I was watching the facial expressions, if you're watching Cash, this is what I was doing. I kept looking at these like, can I take the thumbnails and line it up to where it's him singing Down with the Sickness? Ooh, ah, 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 ah. Like, where is it? Ooh. The one hit here. Ah. 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 Anyway, I liked his channel. That's past tense. New York City apartment scam should be illegal. Again, another consumer alert style video. But it has a, at that point, I guess it can't have the dollar amount or whatever, so I guess that's a perfectly useful video. In fact, I actually want to watch it, mostly because I can see from the title what it's about. New York City's in trouble, that's vague. I never click those because they are tease titles. This one, however, is not a tease title. It says there's a scam going on, and I might actually watch it. I found the worst apartment in New York City, and at that point, I don't think he cares about the price tag or how many rooms it is. It's like how poor of a condition it is. So there we are. Surviving in New York City just got harder. Okay, you get the idea. 5 years ago, pretty damn consistent. Now, obviously, channels change over time. So let's look at the latest videos. Now the videos are almost exclusively AI generated, very fake. The titles say things that are simply counterfactual or just fucking not true in any way. And almost all of this appears to be kowtowing to the bootlicker establishment that is maintaining the status quo that we're suffering under. Now I'm going to show you the most popular video on his channel. Now remember, he has just a little bit over 1.7 million subs, And there's a video he has on his channel with 20 million views. New York City is building anti-homeless streets. And it shows all of the adversarial architecture. It was very informative. I watched it when it came out. It was suggested all over the place, hence 20 million views. Another video, New York City is full of fake buildings and why. And it's literally, you can see it all in one line there. Even though I put this in a 6 by whatever pattern, you can read it. And that was about buildings that aren't really apartment buildings or whatever. They're just facades where they put in pump stations and stuff. Quite useful. Now we get about a year ago and we get New York City buses migrants back to Texas because Trump won. Okay, that may or may not be neutral. 3 years ago, living in a tiny box apartment on a New York City roof. And this one is, again, but it's got the best view. Entire New York City mall closes over theft. That sounds like a smash mob or a theft mob. New York's blocking migrant buses. Okay. Army of troops take over New York City, and this all sounds like all the doom and gloom about the stuff that's going on. Now, some of these immediately, we're looking at most popular videos. We're at 3 million views pretty consistently on this line here. Some of these are fully AI faked images. The reason for that, if you're not aware of it, if a year ago or more, a lot of images you would get that were done by AI would fail to account for the fact that focuses don't go all the way back 5 blocks. So you'll see extremely large depth of field. Depth of field is almost exclusively achieved that way by having bright daylight, not a nighttime scene, and almost exclusively having a pinhole camera. Basically, I mean, you can get optics to do it, but most of the time you don't get everything in focus close and far unless you take multiple pictures and overlay them or have multiple cameras firing at once. A lot of these are literally just AI images. They're fake. I consider this fraud. Living in a secret $7 million tiny house in New York. Okay, cool. Now let's look at we'll look at the latest again, and I'll just conclude what I have to say. Most of his videos appear currently to be propping up the need by people to have validation for their belief system that isn't propped up by reality and their community and people on the internet. When people go on the internet, they get hit in the face like a wet tuna with people who don't agree with them and can actually back it up. And you have 2 options when you're told the world isn't flat. And I'm being literal and figurative about it. You can just double down and say that everybody's being lied to, and eventually everybody's just lying to you, and then eventually everybody's fake. Or you stop going on the internet and listening to people tell you the earth isn't flat and keep believing it, or you realize at least one thing: the majority of people don't believe what you do, and telling a religious person that the world is welcoming their religion and that they're going to be welcomed with open arms to save people from their sins and blah, blah, blah. And then they go on the internet and find out that no one wants that. Literally, no one wants you, no matter what their belief system, to convert them to your religion. And your religion saying that has always been, throughout your life, a lie. That is something religious people can't tolerate. They'll either learn, yeah, I was lied to by my own religion, which means, especially if you're a Christian, that means your preacher or your family was lying to you. That's really hard to take. You need to understand from that standpoint that many people who are religious aren't able to do it. You can see this in the behavior of certain people in certain countries that obey a certain religion, and it's not Islam and it's not Christianity, and I'm not allowed to say which religion it is because I'll get my channel flagged because they have a lot of power. But when ordinary citizens of that particular country run into literally nobody believing what they believe, they immediately assume that it's like the Truman Show, where everybody's been brought in to try to convince them that they don't believe anything right. They literally say, you're trying to convince me I believe in something false simply because I don't want to join your religion. I've had people get mad at me like that, and I basically say, when you want to talk, which means you listen instead of accuse, we can talk. I've had many debates with people of that faith. And what's funny is they go through culture shock finding out that this isn't the same culture they grew up in. And yeah, I'm also going to include, I wasn't talking about them, but I'm talking about them now, Muslims and people from various faiths when they go to a city where nobody believes what they believe, they're like a massive minority, it doesn't mean they're being put upon. It's that simply people don't believe what they believe, and that's it. And you have to be okay with it. Some people can never be okay with that. So they seek validation. They want the internet to tell them that they're right constantly. But some of them go even further and go full Trump. Simply saying a fact that is, you'll find out suddenly Trump doesn't agree with that. And suddenly you're on a list of people he wants to hurt. Telling them that 8647 or 86 anything doesn't mean kill. It means kick out or exclude or, give them the bum's rush. It's not a term that's used for mafioso bullshit. Also, everybody on Wikipedia, stop trying to make Trump right when he's not. Just stop kowtowing to him. Bootlicking doesn't work except you get the boot shoved in your mouth more. So anyway, on that note, totally not on topic, Cash Jordan. I want you to consider, if anybody forwards this to Cash, if you are simply afraid, because a lot of these videos show that you're terrified of what's going on in the world right now, just like everybody else. If you're doing this so you can get enough money and you can get enough safety by appearing to support the Trump regime and the conservatives who are too thin-skinned to tolerate any criticism, to the point that they're willing to show up at someone's house and shoot their damn porch light out, if you're afraid of that and you're just trying to do this to earn money, just go full AI if you want to, so that you can get the hell out of Dodge and hide. I want you to go onto your channel, look for the New York City is building anti-homeless streets, the 20 million view video. I want you to look at the return on investment you got on it, and I want you to do the following. Don't delete it. I want you to make it not listed anymore. Just make it private. Put on your Patreon as a best of if you want to. That will tell us you're not really doing this because you believe in it. You're doing it because you're trying to avoid being on that list that is going to eventually get rounded up. And or you're doing this whole thing so you can earn a lot of money basically working the conservatives to get your views so that you can get away with getting away. Okay? If that's what's going on, just unlist it, make it private, not just unlisted, so that, and then offer it on your Patreon as your most popular video, because it is double or more of every video you got. New York City is full of fake buildings. Maybe make that unlisted. Do it for a week. All you'll do is communicate to all of us OGs that watched your YouTube video, both of these, that the reason you're doing this has nothing to do with your support of Trump, etc., or that you're just kowtowing to the conservatives. You're doing this maybe to save yourself and maybe to build up enough money so you can have an escape plan and a proper bug-out plan. Just saying. Or, if you're not going to do that, I'm going to assume that I shouldn't watch any of your content anymore because it's not acceptable. It's garbage anymore. It's not that it just isn't for me. That's fine. It doesn't have to be for me. It's that it is absolutely telling me that you're just exploiting them. I mean, you're doing this almost as a grift. Now, other people are getting mad at you, and I understand that, but they don't consider that maybe you're doing this because you can see the writing on the wall, and this is the only way to keep your channel up. Because eventually YouTube will be legally compelled, because the government will do this, to basically praise Trump and pass the cabbage. Okay? All right. So you don't have to do any of this. Nobody has to suggest this to him, but no, really, this is looking like a desperate man who's scared out of his mind. So give Cash Jordan a little bit of leeway. Maybe assume that he's under a lot of stress. Thanks for watching. Have a good day. Good luck with that. He'll need it.